Welcome to Newsline Media Bulletin. I'm your host Ivy Gesari, and here are our top stories of the hour. In Kabati, a small town in Kenya's central region, a stretch of the Nairobi-Nyeri highway has become a symbol of sorrow and frustration. A place where tragedy is no longer a rare occurrence but a grim routine. Residents say the road, which lies between a mortuary and a petrol station, has become a silent killer. Outcry. Our reporter, Bezalel Sanare, brings us this story.
Behind me is a road that residents of Kabati have come to fear, not because of where it leads, but because of what it takes. We're separating the Mortenzuma Mona Lisa funeral home and this petrol station. This church has become a site of repeated tragedy. Locals say it claims lives almost every week, and so we are here today to find out what happens and what is being made to stop it.
In Kabati residential area, this road may look ordinary, but for many, it's a stretch of sorrow and death. It separates a mortuary, the Mortenzuma Mona Lisa funeral home, and a Shell petrol station, yet unites countless families in pain. Locals say it's a death trap.
Derek, I am a clinician, lakini nauzanga jeneza hapa Mortenzuma. So chenye inafanyikanga hapa ni accidents. Regularly sana unapata ina man kuna accident inafanyika. So tungeomba tuwekewe bumps because hapa footbridge sioni
venye. 2 to 3 lives are reportedly lost here. Pedestrians knocked down as they cross between grief and danger.
So watu wengi venye hukuja hapa hata mwenye amegongwa bado amekuja either amekuja kutoa friend, family, relatives, mtu yeyote. So inakuwa painful hata kwa familia pia kwetu sisi. Sasa unaona hiyo imekuwa matanga ingine kwa familia moja. Yeah.
Last week, 2 sisters already mourning the loss of a child were hit by an oncoming vehicle moments after leaving the mortuary. One died on the spot and the other a few hours later.
Ni accidents ngapi unaweza sema unaweza approximate the number of accidents zimekuwa zikihappen hapa?
Kwa sasa siwezi approximate tu, nimefanya hapa for 3 years now. Naweza peana 5 zenye nimeona, kwa zingine unapatanga sometimes zimefanyika usiku, unapata nini za gari zimejaa kwa barabara, so huwezi jua ni ngapi wanga zinafanyika.
For a very long time, the residents of this special area have pleaded with both the county and national government to build them a footbridge to ease their movements across the road. But with no footbridge, no speed bumps, no zebra crossing and no warning signs, it's evident that their raised concerns landed on deaf ears.
Footbridge ama bumps. Tuweke bumps za kusoro gari speeds kutoka huko juu.
For now, families continue to grieve, candles continue to burn, and crosses continue to rise along this deadly slope. Until action is taken, this Kabati's road of sorrow remains just that, a place where silence and speed collide with fatal consequence. Reporting for Newsline Media TV, I'm Bezalel Sanare Lipapa.
The Law Society of Kenya, the body tasked with promoting justice and defending the rule of law, is now at the center of a heated national debate. The society is facing sharp criticism from the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, Kipchumba Murkomen, over its recent calls for terrorism charges against anti-government protesters to be dropped. Let's get more of this story from our reporter, Janet Werimo.
The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, is mandated with the role of handling complaints and taking action against misconduct. But recently, the LSK has come under harsh criticism by the Cabinet Secretary for Security, Kipchumba Murkomen, for demanding that the court should drop terrorism charges against protesters. LSK claims that protesters should not be criminalized as terrorists unless there is clear intention to commit acts of terror. Kipchumba Murkomen has sharply criticized LSK for allegedly shielding protesters charged with terrorism charges. He stated that the charges on these protesters should not be made lighter and the courts not to be intimidated by anyone.
I've seen my Law Society of Kenya leadership and as a member, I totally disagree with those who want to make it lighter. They want to make it look cheap when we say that people who are burning courts, burning police stations, burning businesses with petrol bombs, stealing guns, burning houses for police officers, burning vehicles for county government and for individuals, burning supermarkets, looting people's businesses. All those people are properly defined in the Prevention of Terrorism Act of the Republic of Kenya. They are defined to be terrorists because they have committed acts of terror. And if we find them attempt to do so, even in this city, we are going to charge them for what it is. We want to make sure, and I want to tell the Law Society of Kenya not to always be on the side of the criminals. They must be on the side of Kenyans. They must be on the side of preventing crimes in this county, in this region, and the Republic. Because there is no point for the Law Society of Kenya to spend a lot of energy to try to reduce the bail terms for suspected criminals who have properly been arrested and located.
Yeah, I'm Janet Werimu.
Kenya's organ transplant system is facing a critical shortage, with thousands in need of life-saving procedures, but only a handful receiving help. Currently, the system relies almost entirely on healthy relatives donating organs. This means that vital organs like hearts, lungs, livers, and even corneas remain dangerously scarce. But now, a new proposal could be a game changer. But beyond infrastructure and training, the committee says public trust is key. To address concerns, especially around religious, cultural, and ethical sensitivities, they to work with local leaders to explain how disease donation is both safe and life-saving. Recent fears over organ trafficking and unethical practices have fueled skepticism, making it essential for any new system to operate under a clear legal framework with proper oversight. Sam Karanja gives us more on this story.
Kenya's transplant system today relies almost entirely on healthy relatives donating organs, which means vital organs like hearts, lungs, livers, and corneas remain in critically short supply. The Committee on Tissue and Organ Transplant Services recommends creating a national deceased donating program where organs and tissues are recovered after legal death to greatly expand availability. This will involve setting up a central organ procurement organization, training doctors and nurses in brain death determination and donor management, upgrading hospitals to meet ethical and clinical standards too. To build public trust, the government should work with community, religious, and cultural leaders to explain how deceased donation is safe, beneficial, and life-saving. Clear legal frameworks and oversight will guard against malpractice, addressing recent fears of trafficking and unethical practices. Chaired by Professor Elizabeth, the committee urges Health CS Aden Duale and the Ministry of Health to begin stakeholder consultations, secure funding, and launch training programs as the first steps towards building a robust deceased organ donation system in Kenya. But the question still remains. If we adopt an opt-out system where everyone is presumed a donor unless they explicitly refuse, do we risk eroding individual autonomy through silence? And also, could expanding deceased donation inadvertently create perverse incentives for hospitals to declare death sooner or for families to hasten the withdrawal of care? It's me, your host, Samuel Karanja.
Kenya's largest company, Safaricom PLC, has hit a major milestone, surpassing 50 million customers on its mobile network. This achievement before the company marks its 25th anniversary, highlighting a remarkable journey from humble beginnings to digital dominance. As it approaches its silver jubilee, Safaricom says its focus remains on connectivity, innovation, and sustainability, driving progress for Kenyans and the wider region. A proud milestone in a story that is still being written. Our reporter Ivy Gesari with more on this story.
Safaricom PLC, Kenya's leading telecommunications provider, has surpassed 50 million customers
on its mobile network, reaching a historic milestone just months before celebrating its 25th anniversary. Starting in the year 2000 with only 17,000 customers, Safaricom has grown to become a pivotal force in Kenya's digital transformation. Its flagship mobile money service, M-Pesa, has transformed financial inclusion, supporting millions of Kenyans with easy access to mobile banking.
We've always been and always stood for transforming lives. So we put the country first. Second, we always promise always on, safe, reliable network and platforms. We are celebrating Silver Jubilee this year, which is a fantastic milestone to be celebrating at a time when we have just completed the previous phase of our strategy. And there's so many things to celebrate. We've driven financial inclusion to the 80s from the 20s when M-Pesa was started. We now have a network that is countrywide. We are the preferred partner of choice for enterprise and also public sector in terms of digitization.
Safaricom recorded revenues of 381.2 billion Kenya shillings for the year ending March 31st, 2025, up 11.4%, with a net income of 69.8 billion Kenya shillings. Strong growth was seen in mobile money and broadband services. M-Pesa added 3.4 million new active users last year and now processes over 100 million daily transactions, underlining its central role in Kenya's economy. The company is also expanding in Ethiopia, recently hitting 10 million customers, part of its vision to be Africa's leading tech firm by 2030.
We've driven financial inclusion to the 80s from the 20s when M-Pesa was started. We now have a network that is countrywide. We are the preferred partner of choice for enterprise and also public sector in terms of digitization.
Safaricom supports over 1.28 million jobs in Kenya, and through its philanthropic foundations, positively impacts over 8 million Kenyans.
We are celebrating Silver Jubilee this year, which is a fantastic milestone to be celebrating at a time when we have just completed the previous phase of our strategy. As we celebrate, we want to say thank you to our customers who have been loyal to us for many years. And as we go to the next phase, which is to be Africa's leading purpose-led technology company, we want to do two things for customers. The first is we want to use technology and AI to improve the how customers and how individuals live their lives every day. If you think about when you leave home, you want to communicate with others, you want to work on the go, you want to shop on the go, you want to live in a digital world in the right way. So we want to be the enabler of choice for individuals, whether those are for connectivity or even from a fintech perspective in terms of payments.
As it nears its silver jubilee, Safaricom remains committed to connectivity, innovation, and sustainable growth to empower Kenyans and the wider region. Reporting for Newsline Media TV, I'm Ivy Gisare. On to sports. It was a night of fireworks and football flair in Singapore as English giants Arsenal locked horns with Italian heavyweights AC Milan in a thrilling friendly clash at the Singapore National Stadium. In the spirit of the Singapore Festival of Football, both sides agreed to an extra thrill, a post-match penalty shootout. It was a chance to entertain the crowd and test nerves and fresh legs alike. And once again, Arsenal proved clinical from the spot, calmly converting their penalties and sealing victory both in regulation, play, and in the shootout. Our reporter Miguel Ndirito has more on this story.
At the Singapore National Stadium, it was North London versus Northern Italy, with Arsenal showing just enough edge to walk away with the win. After a tight first half, the breakthrough came in the 52nd minute when Bukayo Saka slotted home what will be the decisive goal. The match, part of the Singapore Festival of Football, was played in front of a packed crowd with fans treated to top-tier European football under the lights. Though Arsenal led at full-time, both sides agreed to a post-match penalty shootout, a chance to give the fans more drama and test some fresh legs under pressure. And the Gunners once again held firm, converting from the spot with composure and finishing the night victorious in the open play and penalties. Reporting for Newsline Media, I am Miguel Nderitu.
And that brings us to the end of today's bulletin. Thank you for joining us here at Newsline Media. I have been your host, Ivy Gesare. Enjoy the rest of your evening.